Are you the kind of person that sets some New Year's goals or New Year's resolutions and you typically fall off track in the first 4 to 6 weeks? Well, if that's you, that's 100% okay, because in today's video, I'm gonna be going over how you can stick to your New Year's goals and resolutions throughout 2021 so you can get the results that you wanna see. Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Aaron from AMFIT Coaching, and today I'm going over 3 things that you should be doing right now that will help you stick to your New Year's goals and not end up falling off track within the first month or 6 weeks of the year. And if you're new here, my name's Aaron. I'm an online fat loss coach. I help people lose weight and get strong. And if you want to see more videos like this and get an update every time I upload a new video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you missed my last video, I'm going to put a link up here if you do want to go and check it out so you can get up to date with all my videos. And before we get into today's video, I did recently launch something new. So if you're someone that struggles with figuring out what to eat and you're not good at coming up with meals, I started a monthly recipe pack subscription. I'll have the link in the description below if you want to check it out. But basically, every single month, you're gonna get 15 brand new healthy recipes that you can try out for yourself. On top of that, I will also be sending everyone else some additional fitness tips, info, and resources every month too. So let's get into the 3 things you should be doing right now to stick to your goals. If you wanna see more videos like this, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. So the first thing you do want to do is make sure your goal is actually specific and something realistic. So you want to know and have a plan for exactly what you want to do. So what I'm going to go over is the SMART goals system. Now I am going to keep this fairly basic. I'm not going to go in crazy detail about each step. If you do want to see a very detailed version of this, I did do a video basically a whole year ago. I'm gonna link it up here or wherever it is up there on how to use SMART goals to hit your weight loss goals. So if you want to learn specifically about that, how to implement it, then I suggest you check it out. So SMART goals is a way to make sure your goal is specific and something that you know you can accomplish, and it's going to keep you a little more accountable. So SMART is simply just an acronym, S-M-A-R-T, and it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and a time frame. And we're going to use that acronym as a series of steps to organize our goal in a way that's specific to us and will help hold us accountable. Now the reason we're doing this is because typically when some people set a goal or a New Year's resolution, it's very basic and there's no real underlying factor pushing you to work towards that goal. So a typical example of someone who wants to lose weight, their goal will usually just be, I want to lose weight. And let's say if it's your resolution to lose a couple of pounds, or I want to lose some weight this year, is that going to motivate you? Is that goal of just losing weight and having a whole entire 12 months, a whole year to work towards that? Are you going to start tomorrow? Are you going to start next week? Probably not. And when it comes to that time where you do need to start, you're probably going to push it off and just be like, oh, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll start next Monday. And then that next Monday never comes because you keep saying the same thing. So let's go through SMART goals very quickly, so that way you get a good understanding of how you can use it to structure your goals. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your goal is specific. So you need a very detailed goal. So a goal of just, I want to lose weight, would be very basic. That would be like a bare bones goal. to make it more specific, let's attach some numbers to it, which will give it a little more meaning. So let's say, for example, I want to lose 20 pounds and 6 inches around my waist and go down 2 shirt sizes. It's still the same goal of I want to lose weight, but we've attached a lot more meaningful qualities to it. We have a number of 20 pounds, that's a target. We have 6 inches around our waist, that's something that we can keep track of with our pants. And we have going down 2 shirt sizes. That's a very easy thing to keep track of. If you're in an extra large and then you go down to a large, that's a pretty big accomplishment. And having that will help motivate you to keep working hard. So make sure you do attach some sort of number or some sort of way you can visualize exactly what you accomplish, exactly what you want to accomplish, and not just the bare bones. Try and get the details and be honest about what exactly you want to accomplish. The next step is to make sure your goal is actually measurable. You need a way to make sure you're actually moving in the right direction. Are you making progress? Yes or no? A general goal of just losing weight, it's hard to keep track of if you're going in the right direction. Are you going at the right speed? Are you going too fast, too slow? You won't really know. You may be like, oh, I've lost 2 pounds in the past 2 months. Is that what you wanted? You may not know. So make sure you have a way to measure your goal. So in terms of losing weight, it could be a variety of things, but it could be watching your weight on the scale. It could be doing measurements because we are doing waist sizes. It could be taking some photos, some progress photos, going by different shirts we have in the closet. As long as you pick one method that you're going to use consistently or a couple periodically, it will help you to track your progress, make sure you're moving in the right direction, and it's going to give you hopefully some motivators when you see yourself making progress and moving towards that goal. And that ties in with the specific element as well. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds and you notice you're losing, let's say, 1.5 pounds, 1 pound a week, you know you're going to get to your goal in probably less than 6 months. The next thing is often an overlooked one, and it's attainable. Is your goal something that you can actually accomplish? And do you have the resources available to accomplish that goal? So let's say, for example, if your goal is to lose weight, but you've never been to the gym, you've never worked out before, you've never tracked your food, you just haven't done any of that, then you may need to step back a little bit, reevaluate the specifics of your goal, and focus on some of the things you may need to do to prepare yourself to work towards that goal. So that way, when you start, you're not going to be overwhelmed and you're not going to get discouraged when you may not know how to do something. So give yourself that opportunity to learn what you may need to learn. And also it may help you take things a little bit slower because you may need to ease into certain elements so that way you know you can accomplish your goal. Because just diving in headfirst does not work for everybody. There's a few people it does work well for, but for most it can be very overwhelming. So make sure your goal is something attainable. If it's a little far out of your reach, you may have to scale it back a little bit, or you may also notice you may have to get some extra resources or learn a few different things before you put in the bulk of the work. The next thing is making sure your goal is actually realistic. Is this something that is within your grasp? Do you have the capabilities to actually do this? So for me, a good example would be, let's say if I wanted to run a marathon at the end of February. I've got 5 weeks to do it. And I haven't really run that much lately. I've been walking a lot, but I haven't run much. That's not a realistic goal. It will not end up well. I will probably collapse on the ground a few kilometers in, to be very honest. So that would be a goal that's not realistic. So I may want to scale that back to be like, let's run a 10K race first, see how that goes. And then if that goes well, maybe let's do a half marathon and build it up. So you do want to make sure your goal is within your grasp. If it's something that's too far, it's going to be very easy to lose motivation unless you set some mini goals along the way. So if your goal is to lose 100 pounds, maybe that's very good for an overall goal, but you may want to set your first goal of losing 15 to 20 pounds. Focus on that, crush that first, and then go on to the next step. So make sure your goal is within your grasp. And the last thing that you want to do is make sure you set a time frame. Give yourself a deadline, because to be honest, if you give yourself an entire 12 months to work towards your goal, you're not going to start very soon, to be honest. It's just like in university or college or in high school and you're studying for exams. Would you start studying at the start of the semester? No, nobody does. You start studying for your exams like the week before they start. And setting a goal for losing weight is just the same. You need a sense of urgency and you need a bit of an incentive as well to start working towards it. So if you want to lose 20 pounds and you give yourself from January to December, honestly, you're probably not going to start anytime soon. But let's say if you have something coming up in June, you want to look good outside, maybe you want to take a vacation, feel comfortable with your shirt off. That will be a good first step. So let's say you want to lose that 20 pounds, 6 inches around your waist, go down 2 shirt sizes. Let's set that deadline for June 1st. I want to do all that by June 1st. And the other thing you can do when you have that time frame, you can kind of work backwards and you can figure out how fast do I actually need to go? And then it'll give you a good idea, because I find a lot of people feel like they're going too slow sometimes. So when you have that time frame, it's going to be a lot easier to gauge how well you're progressing and if you need to do a little more or if you may want to back off a little bit. So the next thing you want to do is you want to know your why. You want to make sure your goal is actually meaningful for you. So again, for this one, I will give you a basic rundown, but I did do a video last summer at some point. I'll link it up here. It was on how to find your why. You don't have to watch that video. This rundown will be perfectly fine. In that, mainly what I do is I go through it step by step with you and you can follow along. So if you want a very detailed video on how to do it, I would recommend checking it out. But you want to make sure your goal is something you actually want to accomplish. Is it something meaningful for you? For example, is there an actual beneficial reason, say health reason, emotional, physical, whatever it may be, of losing that 20 pounds or losing that weight? If there is, then that's very good. That's going to be sort of an internal motivator that will help keep you on track. Because as you get going and as you get closer to that goal, it's going to get more difficult. And sometimes you may not always have those external motivators, such as like a training partner, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a coach, whatever it may be. You may not always have somebody else motivating you. So sometimes you do need those personal reasons that it's more than just losing 20 pounds. It's also reducing your risk of heart disease, improving your cholesterol, being able to play with your kids. It's those kind of things that are really going to motivate you when things get difficult to actually put in the work to get to your goal. So you want to make sure you know the underlying reason of why you want to get to your goal, not just the basic surface level of, I think it would be great to lose 20 pounds. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard something like that when someone says, oh, it would be great I just thought of it, I just want to lose 20 pounds. But as soon as things get difficult, you're probably not going to hold yourself accountable and you're probably going to fall off track. And I'm not saying that to be mean, it's something that I've seen time and time after again. So make sure there is some sort of meaning attached to your goal and an underlying benefit to achieving that goal. Make sure you have more than just the surface level reason, but also the reason that personally affects you. So this brings us to the last thing that I want you to do that will help you accomplish your goal. And this thing is not anything special in particular. It's something that is always overlooked, but it's something that makes a big difference. And that is getting some paper and a pen or a pencil and actually writing down your goal. Writing down exactly what you've been thinking, exactly what you want to accomplish, the meaning behind it, all the whys, all the numbers, the time frames and everything, and write it down on a piece of paper. Now, you're probably asking, what does that do? Writing it down helps make it real. It's no longer just a thought in your head. It's actually becoming more of a physical thing when you write it down. That's why when you see in the back of my videos, I've got notes everywhere. For me, it's more of mental reminders of things I need to do day to day. It's the same thing with a goal. If it's only in here, then that means you're the only one that knows about it. And if you happen to forget about it, nobody's gonna know. So write it down, put it somewhere where it's visible. It could be like on a whiteboard like that. You could put it on your fridge, wherever. It could be on the back of your phone. Have it somewhere written down, all the SMART goals, the whys, the meanings, the time frame, how you're going to measure it, everything like that. Write it down on a piece of paper, put it somewhere where you can see it. It's going to help you make it seem a little more real, and it's going to give it some more physical characteristics. It may seem like something silly, to be honest, but it only takes 1 minute to write down what you've been thinking and put it on a piece of paper. And you'll probably notice it's going to make a very big difference. I'll give you an example. How often have you gone to the grocery store and completely forgotten what you've gone there for? It's happened to me countless times, but if I write things down, like on a notepad or something, I'll remember exactly what I need to be doing every time. It's a similar thing with your goal. If you don't write it down, it's very easy to forget that you want to lower your cholesterol and your doctor said you need to lower it. So having that in front of you is a very good visual. It gives you that visual reminder of, yes, okay, I need to eat a healthy dinner with lots of fiber tonight. That's going to benefit me instead of having this food instead. So make it real, write it down, make it physical. So to be honest, it's one thing to set a goal and write it down, but it's a whole other thing to follow through with that goal and accomplish that goal. So by going over the 3 things that I listed out, the SMART goals, the knowing your why and the meaning behind your goal, and making your goal physical and writing it down, will help make that progress a little bit easier, and it's going to give you a better chance of following through with what you've set out to implement. So make sure you go through those 3 things. It may take a little bit of time. It could take half an hour, maybe not an hour, but putting in that few minutes right now will benefit you further in the future. It may mean the difference between you never reaching your goal or taking 12 months to reach your goal or taking 6 months. It may not be something that drastic, but it can make a big difference for some people. So if you're one of those people that has a hard time of actually sticking to it and holding yourself accountable, make sure you take the time, go through those 3 things so you can actually reach your goal in 2021. So if you made it to the end of this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you like this kind of video and want to see more like this. I appreciate all of you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.